So this is how you know the pressure to uncover the truth is stronger than ever right now. I'm hearing Congress is supposed to be having a hearing about these files. The pressure is on, and I like it. I like it. Because you know what's slapping them in the face constantly? It's the fact that all the conspiracy theories were right. Do you know how much joy I get out of that? Because do you know how much hate the conspiracy theories receive? How much hate we receive? So I'm loving this. Da 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 da. I'm loving it. Let's get to the video, man.
Did you know that within 3 years of the JFK assassination, 18 witnesses died? Did you know that? 18 witnesses within 3 years. And they ran the numbers on that. For those 18 individuals within their respective age groups, the likelihood of them dying within 3 years of the assassination was 1 to 100 trillion. Isn't that crazy? She even got approval to have a 24-hour station, which was, I guess, something that was really hard to do back in the 50s. There's also this crazy thing called Lady Bird ammunition, and a homegirl was selling munitions globally. Like, make your money, sis. Including to the North Vietnamese. Did you know that when LBJ died, he was worth $100 million? That was in 1973. In today's money, he would be worth almost $900 million. And when you know it, Dan Zimmerman won the contract to build the new military bases all over the world. And I looked up their company today. I didn't want you guys to be stressed out about if they were surviving. Their annual revenue is about $2.7 billion. So it's not quite like a Lockheed Martin, but they're doing all right. I believe that he did anything for the betterment of society or people, but just for the betterment of himself. I also don't think that the mafia had anything to do with it. I think that the mafia was likely discussed and overheard by somebody and obviously fits into the lore. However,
if that's the case, then you know they got paid. If they allowed the government to use their entity as like a fall or a scapegoat, I watched a lot of mob movies. You watched a lot of mob movies, and you know that had to come at a pretty penny. That cost, whoo. Like, if that's the case, then they ain't got to do waste management no more. They ain't got to have all these contracts no more. They could live off that probably for as long as they both shall live. It's like marriage. Like, what?
I don't believe that a bully like LBJ would allow someone with so much power, i.e. the mafia, to be able to blackmail him with something like an assassination. Also, we need to find this history teacher. Are they still walking this earth? Because how could you do that to us? Did you know?
Now, I briefly heard about the mysterious deaths of the witnesses, but I couldn't really find an article for the video to look it up to see. So I'm sitting around and I'm thinking, I'm like, man, I want to know who are these mysterious deaths, or who are some of the people in the information, and how, most importantly, how did they die? So I'm sitting around and I'm thinking, I'm like, you know what? ChatGPT for the win. So here we have it, right? Here we have it. And this is what it is. Dorothy Kilgallen. And I apologize if I pronounced her name wrong, and that goes out to the family. You never want to disrespect somebody's family name, legacy, all that type of stuff like that, man. You never want to do that. So if I pronounced the name wrong, I apologize. But it goes on to say this. A well-known journalist and TV personality, Dorothy, because I'm not going to pronounce that. I'm not going to butcher that name. Dorothy was investigating the assassination and had interviewed Jack Ruby. Now, remember, he was the one that shot Oswald, right? But we'll get to him in a minute. So she was investigating and had interviewed Jack Ruby, right? See how this is all intertwined? It goes on to say she was found dead in 1965 from a supposed overdose. An overdose, right? It says, but many believe she was silenced before revealing crucial information. Now, that leaves us to speculation. What crucial information could she have gotten from the person who allegedly took him out, right? Oswald out on his way to the jail, remember? What information y'all think she could have gotten or stumbled upon or received? Maybe who sanctioned that? Who authorized that to go down? Who he might have been involved with? Who? Like, you have to understand, like, and think about some of the movies you watch. It's so much pressure. It's so much blackmail. It's so much things going on that a person may be ready to crack. You put them in front of the right light, in the right camera, at the right time, that person may be ready to spill their guts. They might be. So let's go on to the next one. David Ferry, a suspected conspirator, right? A pilot with ties to anti-Castro groups and Lee Harvey Oswald. So it goes on to say, he died in 1967 under suspicious circumstances. Gotta do air quotes when you hear suspicious circumstances. Officially ruled as you can't say that word, brain aneurysms. Just days before he was supposed to testify in the Jim Garrison investigation. So the first one, because we only got 7. I think the lady in the TikTok video, she said like 18 or something like that. All I was able to get was 7 from ChatGPT right now. So trust me, I'm on, and it didn't even give me like the sources. That lets you know it was hard to find the information for me because I was trying to search and look. But David Ferry, days before he was supposed to testify, this happens to him. Now, the first one is 1965. This one, 1967, right? Right? 1 overdose, 1 brain aneurysm. All right? The next one, Jack Ruby, Oswald's killers, right? Ruby, who shot Lee Harvey Oswald, died in 1967. Same year. It's David Ferry, right? From cancer while awaiting a retrial. Okay, so we say cancer. Okay, cancer. That how could they have done that, right? Possibly. That was the first thought in my mind when I saw that, right? It said he had claimed there was a larger conspiracy behind the assassination and that he was silenced. Given that. Now, that's probably the information he gave to Dorothy about that there was a larger conspiracy, possibly who was behind that, who was connected, because you got to know the people who are used may know a little bit more than what they let on in the beginning. Might have heard something when they were meeting that they wasn't supposed to hear, might have did some investigation, might have got there early, might have saw some people, you know what I mean? You never know with the job, right? Let's go to the next one. Gary Underhill, a CIA agent. Didn't think we was going to get here so soon, did we? Did we? A CIA agent. Didn't think I was going to get here this soon, but here we are. allegedly told friends he knew who was behind the assassination and feared for his life. Well, obviously he didn't fear for his friend's life, because the fact that they say he told friends, now I want to know who the friends are. I need to know who the friends are. Are they still alive? What happened? How did they die if they're not still alive? How did they die? Right? It goes on to say he was found dead in 1964 from an apparent gunshot wound. And it was ruled you see the word there? I can't say the word. Instead, take me down. Y'all seen what they did to the previous video. You know what I mean? And I think that was why. Because somebody mentioned that in the video. Because other than that, it was a Pierce Morgan interview style video that I was reacting to. Where was the harm in that? But it's trigger words these days now. They're on that. It's trigger words. So certain words you cannot say. All right? But yeah, he was found dead in 1964. So 64, 65, and 67 so far are the years. This is crazy, right? Let's go on to the next one. William Pitzer, a naval officer, allegedly had filmed or photos of JFK autopsy that contradicted the official account. Shout outs to all of y'all with the ballistics information, the bullets, all that type of stuff. I see y'all in the comment section, and y'all are y'all are the greatest, bro. I love the fact that it's so much information out there, and we don't have to look too far. All of us in this community have a lot of the information already. I love that. I love that. But it says William was found dead in 1966. I think we was missing that year because we had 94, we had 95, and we had 97 so far. Here's 96. Found dead in 1966 from a gunshot wound. Again, ruled a what, people? Because I can't say the word. Ruled a what? So you mean to tell me 1, 2, where's the other one? Didn't say it there. So out of everybody so far, 3 out of the 5 so far were ruled that way. 3 out of the 5 were ruled that way. Do you believe in coincidences? Because I don't. I don't. I don't. 3 out of the 5 names so far have that as their ruling. You can't make this up, bro. Let's keep going. Thomas Hale Boggs Sr., congressman. He's a congressman, right? A critic of the Warren Commission and believed in a conspiracy. Disappeared in a mysterious plane crash in 1972, and the wreckage was never found. Bro, they would stop at nothing. Nothing. You hear me? They stopped at nothing to regain control of this situation. They out here tinkering with people's planes. Like at that point, right? This was in 66 as well, right? No. I'm sorry. This was in 1972. So at that point, bro, everybody who has something to do with this case or is involved or knows something had to be scared out of their mind. Had to be. But let's keep going, right? So where were we? Lost my place. Thomas Hale Boggs Sr., congressman. All right, next, and the final name, Lee Bowers, witness, right? Worked near the grassy knoll and reported seeing unusual activity on the day of the assassination. Died in a car accident in 1966 under, drumroll, suspicious circumstances. So here you have seven. Seven. It says after that, these deaths, among others, have fueled speculation that some witnesses were eliminated to prevent them from exposing the truth about JFK's assassination. Fast forward today, and all we have is files. No people, nothing. We have files that we have to sort through. That's it. But we're going to keep going.
It's finally here, what conspiracy theorists and historians alike have been waiting for 60 years. The release of the unredacted, highly anticipated JFK assassination file.
There's really no bombshell here. There was no one else behind Lee Oswald, from any of the evidence we see at this point, helping him accomplish this.
Trump made the document dump one of his campaign promises.
A lot of people are waiting for this for years.
Just days after taking office, he signed the executive order calling for the release, along with the government's files on the assassinations of RFK and MLK Jr.
It's going to be released tomorrow. We have a tremendous amount of paper. You've got a lot of reading.
There really isn't that much new, at least in the part that we have examined so far. But we have learned quite a bit about the CIA.
The new information is not about the assassination itself, but reveals sources and methods, including names and personal information of CIA operatives and contacts, and espionage tactics of the 1960s. One of the files, known as the Schlesinger Memo, showing some of Kennedy's closest aides did not trust the CIA and were skeptical of its motives. Another showing the CIA was wiretapping Soviet and Cuban telephones at their diplomatic facilities in Mexico City, locations Lee Harvey Oswald visited in the months before the assassination. The release also including the personal information of people still living, including social security numbers of former congressional staffers.
Even 60 years later, there's this whole aura of glamour around the Kennedys, around the president and his wife and his young family, and what it represented for America at the time. It was a revival, essentially, of the youthful spirit of the country.
From JFK's charisma as the youngest man ever elected president.
Ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country.
To his wife Jackie's iconic style and grace.
Mrs. John F. Kennedy, looking happy and radiant.
To his alleged secret affair with Marilyn Monroe. To the horrifying assassination that played.
So I want to look into that too. I'm getting into. We might as well go to the messy part of it too. There ain't no reason to leave that out. How did that come about? Before I dive into it and see what I can find and pull up, how did that come about? How did they meet? Was it on again, off again? Was it like the Lewinsky situation with Clinton? Was he scrutinized for it? Was it a big thing, or did it come out after the fact, or when did that all spill out to the world for the world to know that? You know, I'm interested to know that.
Played out on television on November 22nd, 1963.
President Kennedy has been assassinated. It's official now. The president is dead.
The famous amateur home movie, filmed by Abraham Zapruder, capturing the moment. President Kennedy seemingly hit twice, slumping forward, then suddenly jerked backwards. The First Lady leaning over him, then climbing toward the back of the car. Nat Geo spoke with that agent, Clint Hill.
Mrs. Kennedy was screaming. They shot his head off.
Until his death last month, he remained haunted by Kennedy's death.
I should have been able to do more than I did. I wasn't fast enough.
The First Lady boarded Air Force One with Vice President Lyndon B. Johnson, still wearing her blood-stained pink suit, as Johnson was sworn in as president.
Chad Pergram was outside the Capitol asking people what they feel like that they have a right to know. Watch this.
I'm excited to see. I believe it's information that could help shape a lot of opinions. There's a lot of truth that's being hidden. We need to know.
I do think some of that information should be released, but I also think, again, the general public with too much information, that especially when they're not educated enough on the information, is probably not the best idea.
If they are going to release everything, they should release everything from A to Z. That way you have the full perspective of what really.
Now that part I agree with. Stop giving us these things in batches. It's making you look worse. It's making you look even worse. It's like you trying to give us what you think we can handle or what we want without incriminating some of the powerful people that still hold positions. It's you're picking and choosing. No, either drop it or don't drop it. You know what I mean? This whole, okay, you get this batch. If you do good with that, you come back and see us, we'll give you another one. Like, no. Give us the whole thing. Stop spoon feeding us.
Happen. Once again, there's things that I really don't want to know.
And that's your right as a citizen. That is perfectly fine. You know what I mean? Some people don't want to know. Some people don't want to look at their government a certain way. Some people don't want to believe that these secrets exist. Some people don't want to believe that agencies and different branches of government venture off and get out of hand and get out of control and then become so powerful that they're more powerful than the government. You know what I mean? And they're off on their own now. And now the government can't control them. Some people don't want to know that. Some people don't want to believe that exists. And that's perfectly fine. You know? But for some of us who's been saying that, we want to know. We want the truth. It's not the fact that we just want to point fingers and say, hi. No, we want to know the truth. And we want to be able to say, this is why we have no trust in the government. This is why we have no trust. This is why our trust and communication and our trust has been broken. It's because of the lies. Once the lies stop, then we can start to repair this relationship that has been severely damaged.
All right. Chad, welcome back. You're here to discuss what you found out there in the public forum. So as we let go of 80,000, what is it, 60 or 80,000 worth of JFK pages, do you feel like this is a good step? Do you get the sense from the people of the transparency they want from the government?
Well, just the fact that they're looking at this right now. You know, this will be the first congressional hearing on the JFK assassination since the mid-1990s. And at that hearing, you had the former CIA director, Bob Gates, at the time. He said the only thing more horrifying than the assassination itself was what he termed a perverse notion that the government took part in killing John F. Kennedy. Now, as you saw when I talked to people at the Capitol, you kind of had a division there. You had one group of people who said, release everything. We have a right to know. You had another group of people who said there are things that we don't need to know and don't want to know. And when I was outside yesterday, I talked to Glenn Ivey, the Democratic representative from Maryland. He just happened to be there, and he said this is very representative of where we are as a country. We're skeptical of government. People believe there's a tendency for government to cover up, kind of CYA. So this hearing is going to be next Wednesday. And there's also skepticism about the Epstein files. Some people think that the release was botched. And also there's going to be files coming out about Martin Luther King Jr. And also, this is the big one, UFOs, guys. UFOs. Right.
So I understand there was a bit of a mistake, though, with Jay.
Now, y'all notice that has gotten extremely quiet, right? You had that. It was hot and steaming for a minute. So much traction, so much coverage, from the drones to orbs to everything, to the whistleblowers. And then silence. Dead silence. And they would like for us to believe that other stories, you know what I mean, kind of suppress those stories, were bigger, and we no. To me, it feels like they put a lid on it. They suppress those voices. And we got to get back to that as soon as possible.
JFK files, they let go of some people's social security numbers and personal addresses and information?
Yeah, that's something. I mean, I was told a couple of days before that they were going to go through and redact a lot of things, even though President Trump said that there would be no redactions. But yeah, there were things like that that did come out. And so that's something, anytime you're declassifying this information, even though some of it goes back decades, some of that information is probably going to be in that paperwork.
Hey, Chad, what are you hearing? Like, for MLK, people would like to know more about his life, but I understand some people don't want to know everything. What are they worried about? And when it comes to JFK Jr., why wouldn't the government want that released? If the government did something wrong, as many people have predicted, then that was a long time ago. It's a different government now. Why not just have the transparency?
Well, that's what I was so struck by the gentleman from Tyler, Texas there. He said, you know, if something bad is going to happen, or maybe if they had done something bad, he said, I'm not sure that I really want to know. He said, I kind of want to, you know, be above board there. I mean, I'm of the mind that I want to know. Maybe that's because I'm a journalist. I would rather have more information.
Yeah, we're curious.
And that was something that, you know, Glenn Ivey said. He said, you know, more transparency, the more information that's out there, people can make their own judgments.
So, Chad, tell us about the mood on Capitol Hill when it comes to impeaching these federal judges. I know it's a high burden, but a lot of people, me included, feel like that these judges are overstepping their boundaries and their roles, getting ahead of their skis. Is there support on Capitol Hill for impeachment, though?
We will know more about that when the House comes back next week. The process is the same with presidents. You know, they impeached the former Homeland Security Secretary, Alejandro Mayorkas, last year. They've only impeached 4 federal judges in the past 36 years. There were 2 impeached in 2009. Thomas Porteous was impeached and convicted, removed from the bench. You had Samuel Kent, who was impeached but resigned before a trial. So Brandon Gill, who is a freshman Republican from Texas, he has drawn up these articles of impeachment for James Boasberg, accused him of abuse of power. And again, this is going to be hard to do. Why? Because it's about the math. There's a narrow majority in the House, and we have to see just how hard President Trump or Elon Musk might, push the House Speaker Mike Johnson. You know, there was an effort to kind of do a snap impeachment in 2023 with President Biden by Lauren Boebert. And Kevin McCarthy, the Speaker of the House at the time, said, no, you know, he said, this is too serious. We're not going to just do this on the fly. We're going to go through committee. We're going to have investigations. But if you put something on the floor right away and the votes are there, then that person is impeached. As I say, it's about the math. But if they were to get this through the House of Representatives, then there would also be a lot of pressure on John Thune, the majority leader in the Senate, to take it up. But one thing I have to tell you, you might be able to impeach somebody in the House, but removing them from the federal bench in these circumstances, that's never going to happen. Why? You need 67 votes to convict in the Senate.
Right, and John Roberts says, I really don't want to go there. I don't even think you should be bringing it up. I think that the oversight chair, Jim Jordan's indicated he's going to entertain it, so we'll see what he actually decides to do. Thanks, Chad.
Thank you, Chad.
Thank you. Good to see you guys.